Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. In this video, we're gonna go into a journey through our energetic bodies. Our energetic bodies are 3 different ones, and we're gonna be adding as well the connection to our spiritual self within this video. And I would like to touch base in the video on the different emotions, how the thoughts, how everything affects our physical form as well. So the idea is that by the end of the video, you understand how they are enmeshed together. And we're going to be adding a little bit of sacred geometry there as well, so that it all holistically makes sense to you. And how they're also related to the chakras. Okay, so everything is interconnected, and this video is for you to, in a 101 basis, it's a friendly beginner version of a lot of information. So I hope that you enjoy it. And before we continue, if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, so make sure to hit the subscribe button below. Give a like to my channel and share it with your family and friends. And also in the description box below, I'm gonna be leaving you a beautiful gift just for you. So make sure to check it out. All right, so without further ado, now we're gonna be jumping into this presentation, let's say, because I made actually a presentation. It's a little bit different from my previous videos. So there we go. Welcome again to a journey through your energetic bodies. So first of all, when we think about our spiritual self, a lot of people also call it higher self. And this is usually because it sits a little bit like over our heads, let's say, but not necessarily. And we're going to explain later on why. Then in the process of manifestation, we have the spiritual self saying like, hey, I would like to go through this type of experiences so I can learn about XYZ. Perfect. Then the spiritual self send through our main chakras, the 7th chakra, start sending that information down so we can actually act upon it. But before we create physical forms of these manifestations, we start thinking about it. So it's like when you get an idea and you start thinking about the idea, like, oh yeah, I would like to do this, or I would like to go this way or that way, whatever it is. And then you start feeling like, oh yeah, it would be lovely if I went to the beach. So it's connected as well to your emotional body to then finally say like, okay, now I'm going to the beach, and then you go for a lovely walk or whatever it is, and you experience something physical. This is a very, very mainstream example, right? But we can manifest really big things if we understand how the energetic bodies work together. So when we think about the different energetic bodies, I have it here a little bit separate for now, the spiritual self that I was talking before. Then we have the mental body, we have the emotional body, and the physical body. Each one of these bodies, they have a frequency. And within this frequency, you can see that it's the human being in the middle as a physical form. And it has a frequency that is flowing around him or her all the time. This is a constant flowing of the energy, right? So as I was saying, first start with the spiritual self, that it says like, hey, what if we learn about this and that? Then it goes to the mental body, then it passes on to the emotional body, and then to the physical body to actually bring it back to earth, right? So when we look at all these bodies, it looks like, oh, they're separate. It's not necessarily that, but they do act sort of like in the same dimension, but also in different frequencies. Bear with me. If we put them all together, they will look something like this, okay? So they're all acting around the same auric field together. Usually, the spiritual self, as I was mentioning before, it would sit above us in a way, because the spiritual self is able to be connected not only to us in this physical realm, but also to different dimensions. So it's in a way the one that is seeing everything without us understanding what's happening. Sometimes our spiritual self knows exactly what's happening, but we sometimes don't tap into that wisdom, into that knowledge, because within the mental body, emotional body, and physical body, we're having imbalances and blocked energies and different things like that. So usually it looks like we have our spiritual self sitting like above ourselves. This is why it's also called higher self. And it's connected through a beam of light. Light is also information, so it's connected through a beam of light that enters our 7th chakra and goes down. And this is how we start receiving the information from our spiritual self. And when we're like this, like with this like beam of light, very straight to our higher self or spiritual self, we are actually very aligned to everything that we are thinking, seeing, communicating, feeling, and doing in this lifetime. What happens if we're not really that connected? Our spiritual self might be like drifting off to this side or that side, and we might be feeling a little bit scattered, but more of that to come. What we would like to achieve eventually in this lifetime, or perhaps in a different lifetime, is having everything integrated. So bringing also our spiritual self down to us. When we're talking about enlightenment, it's all about the light that we hold within ourselves. And most often than not, human beings, we have so many blockages when it comes to all these 3 bodies that I'm mentioning before, the mental, emotional, and physical, that we cloud all that beauty of energy that we're capable of streaming through our auric field. And when we're able to clean all of them a lot, and it's a constant process, it's not something that you do one day and then you forget, right? So if we're constantly cleaning our mind, cleaning our emotional body, our physical body, and acting accordingly to what our spiritual self is guiding us to, eventually what we're gonna reach is this state here, which is more of an illuminated being. So we're integrating absolutely everything. We're integrating our physical body within the emotional body, the mental body, and we're bringing our spiritual self right here, right now. And when we are acting according to that, our level of consciousness spikes up to, well, hopefully some of us will be able to experience this in this lifetime, but it's more like Buddha type of style, Jesus, and the enlightened masters that we've had over in history. So hopefully some of us will reach there. I'm not saying that I have. I'm more like in this state here, and it's totally fine because I'm still streaming things and I'm aligning to what my spiritual self, which is myself as well, want to experience in this lifetime, and following guidance. Now, when we're talking about all of this together, like as our auric field, it looks something like this. So we have our human body, and within our human body, we also have the different energetic centers that are aligned with our spine. When we are talking about our auric field, is a combination of all of this mental, emotional, and physical body connected to our spiritual self, and this creates a certain frequency. whenever I hear people saying like, what is high frequency? How can I maintain a high frequency? Well, it's around all these bodies and maintaining healthy energetic bodies. So it's maintaining healthy physical body, a healthy emotional body, a healthy mental body, and spiritual self, right? And the combination of all of them, they're always creating this torus shape, which is from sacred energy. So whenever we have this flowing around, it looks like the energy is flowing like an apple. We're like in the core of the apple, in the core of like this, like a smoke ring that it's flowing like this, right? So it's in constant movement. Whatever we have in our auric field equals to our frequency. So if we have polluted mental body, emotional body, physical body, and this is what is flowing in our auric field, then that's exactly what we're attracting to it. So if we're having pains, if we're having illness, and this is because of the emotional body that has stuck emotions here and there that we haven't let ourselves to feel in the past and let through, then everything stacks here and we attract more of it. Similar is going to be attracting more similar stuff, because that's what mentally you're telling as well to your spiritual self. Hey, I want more of this so I can actually understand the lesson. And it's not something that is meant to be mean, it's more that your spiritual self has been, okay, we want to learn about, let's say, pain, unfortunately. Okay, we want to learn about pain, or that's not the best example because we don't like life to be painful, but but let's say we're gonna learn about the relationship that you have with your mom. Okay, so you make a karmic contract with your mom before even coming here as a physical body, and to do that we go through all these different stages, and sometimes the first thing that we understand or that we are able to witness is a physical body symptom. So it could be, I have a migraine. And I'm going to put this example because this relates to me, so it's very close. So migraines. Okay, I started developing migraines. Why on earth am I developing migraines? I don't understand. And there were a lot of stuck emotions in my emotional body that came from different thoughts that I was having, but ultimately they came from a lesson that I wanted to learn as a physical self, as a spiritual self having a physical body, about the relationship that I have with my mom. Okay, I'm not gonna go into a lot of details there, but this is why. So when I was going, for example, to a doctor, they were just looking at the physical body. Everything was fine. They weren't even touching on the emotions, my thoughts, or anything else. Once I wasn't able to get any type of information about the root cause of the migraines, I started looking deeper, and this is how I started getting more into spirituality and how energy works and energy healing and all of these things. So when I was done, because I couldn't believe that they would just prescribe me more and more and more medications, that they were making the process even worse, because the medications then they weren't strong enough. So they would give me stronger medications, and then those medications weren't doing the trick, then stronger medications, to the point that at one point I had a migraine for a month. And it wasn't fun. So after that, I started okay, there must be more to this. And I started researching, learning, and I've been learning for many, many years. And now, because I understood this as well, and I understood the root spiritual cause of those migraines, I have been able to treat them in a holistic way. And this is why it's so important for everyone that if you're manifesting pain or illness, or if you're manifesting, I don't know, the relationships that you don't necessarily like, this is pretty much the same. There's a spiritual cause that you're streaming down into the physical form so that you can understand through all the emotions and the thoughts, what is it? So it's giving you that hint, let's say. And sometimes we don't get the hints by the thoughts. We get them when we start feeling something, or in the worst case scenario, we start feeling sick or getting sick, and that's when we start like, hey, there's something going on here, right? So when we get to the physical form of something that we've manifested, is because we haven't really been hearing our emotions or our thoughts, okay? So when we are talking about healthy energetic bodies, it's very important here to make the connection with the 7 main chakras. It's not that we only have 7, we have chakras all over the place, but the most important ones are the 7 chakras right here. Each one of these chakras, they also act in the mental body, emotional and physical body, plus the spiritual self. They're all kind of like in mesh within the same type of net, let's say. So when we were looking at the torus shape that is here, and by the way, if you haven't watched my Sacred Geometry series, there I have a torus class where I'm explaining all the spiritual aspects of it, the significance of the symbol, plus how to draw it. So make sure that you're checking that one out. Well, continuing with this, we have the 7 main chakras that are aligned through our spine. So when they're aligned, they actually look like this, right? They're all in a line, and we have from the first, which is the closest to earth, to the 7th chakra, which is the closest to our spiritual side of things. So we have the root chakra, which is this one here, and it goes like I survive or I thrive, if you want to look at it like that. Then we have the sacral chakra, which is related to our emotions. So it's called I feel. Then we have the 3rd chakra, which is in the solar plexus area, and this is related to everything that you are doing, so it's called I do. Then we have the heart chakra, which is who I am, and is the middle ground, the connection between the 3 chakras that are closer to earth and the 3 chakras that are more on the subtle energies. So then we have the throat chakra, which is I say. Then we have the 3rd eye chakra right here, which is I see. And then we have the crown chakra, which is I know. So how does this relate as well to the energetic bodies? As I was saying before, first you start thinking about things, but if we look at it now from the chakras perspective, when you receive information from your spiritual self or higher self, everything that you know is just reaching there, right? It's like all the downloads that you're getting, it's like, oh, I know this. I just know it. It's coming from the crown chakra. Then when you see what you already know and you're clear of that, you don't have any confusions. Then is the I say. So you can communicate everything that you know, everything that you see clearly, you can communicate it from an honorable place. And there, you express all of that from who you are, or you think you are. And the solar plexus helps you to put on the work to create everything that you know, that you see clearly, that you can express, that you are. So you can actually move your hands now and just create by doing. Then the sacral chakra is what you are feeling while you are doing everything that you are, that you say, that you see, and that you understand, to finally create it with the root chakra, which is everything that relates to the physical form, the physical body, like everything that maintains you secure. You're able to create it in the earth, on earth. So when we're looking at these chakras, like just picture them like this. When we're looking at the chakras, the form that they have is like this little cones. So chakras are energy vortexes, and they're spinning constantly. So when they're balanced, they're all spinning in their own rates, and they're flowing the energy like this from one chakra to the next, to the next, to the next. Now, what happens when they're starting to be imbalanced? They're kind of like, it's like a little piece is missing some oil, so it's not spinning right to one side or the other. Or one is like oversized, another one might be super tight. So they're not actually doing that energy flow go up in a consistent way. So it might be kind of like going to one side and to the other, and they're not connecting right. So this is when in the physical form we start looking that our life feels imbalanced, or like we start looking like, why is this situation happening to me? It's not happening to you. You are in a way creating it according to everything that you have in your auric field, in your energy field around you. So if we look at the little cones, the front part is going to look like a circle, and the part that goes to the back is going to look like this little pointy part. The only one that is different is the crown, that instead of having the spiky thing to the back, is like a little hat on top of you, right? And here with the 7 chakras, what happens that I was explaining a little bit before, when your spiritual self, and you've decided this with knowing or not really knowing, most of us sometimes don't know that we've created all these karmic contracts and that we want to learn a lot of things. So we start with that, the spiritual self, like, okay, let's create situations so we can learn from them. And we start thinking, right? When we're creating situations around us that we actually don't like and that we want to change, that's because we're thinking and acting according limiting beliefs and patterns that we have learned, usually between the years 0 to 7 in our life. So most of these limiting beliefs and patterns comes from our childhood and from our caregivers, usually our parents. So whenever we're thinking, then we start acting as well according to these limiting beliefs and patterns. And usually we start having unprocessed emotions. Emotions are energy in motion. So if you have stuckness somewhere because of an emotion that you're not letting yourself feel, then it gets stuck. If, for example, in this whole process of the energy flowing up, you are not letting yourself feel the emotion of sadness, that might be something that is a limiting belief according to the I am, the heart chakra. It might be that your parents, like you wanted to, I don't know, dance ballet, but you were a male child and your parents were like, no, you're not dancing ballet because of this and that, and our religion says this, and this is considered to be for women. And then all those beliefs that they were saying to this fictional character as a child, they got here into the heart chakras, like, oh, so I'm not allowed to be who I want to be, who I am. So in that case, there might be a lot of sadness, and it could be that this unprocessed emotion of sadness is just stuck there in the heart chakra. And that relates to different physical ailments, because the excess of energy is going to start creating imbalances. And because each one of the chakras are associated with different parts of the body, with different systems, biological systems of the body, and different organs and different functions, it's all in layers, everything is interconnected. So when this happens is that we might have a chakra that might be over or underactive. If it's over or underactive, you're going to have like different imbalances for it. So in this case, you start creating pain, you start creating illnesses. It might be that this fictional character has asthma problems, or things like that are related to the area of the heart chakra. And just to go a little bit quicker here, I wanted to show you what different imbalances could look like when it comes to either overactive or underactive chakras. So we're gonna start with the root chakra. The root chakra, as I said, is I survive. I survive in this environment, hostile environment sometimes that we think. And if you have an overreactive chakra, then you're gonna be prone to being aggressive, to be very materialistic, or that you have excessive skepticism or feelings of entitlement. Now, if it's underreactive, and underreactive will be kind of like a little bit tight, the little cone is tight there. It would be related to feeling insecure or fearful, or feeling very ungrounded, or having any type of stability in your life. You're lacking stability in your life. Now, if we are moving into the sacral chakra, which is the I feel. Yes, this is how we feel, but it doesn't mean that all the emotions are only stored here. We can feel them in different places according to what each chakra rules. So if you have an overactive sacral chakra, you might be using a little bit of overindulgence in pleasures, or you might be a bit addicted to different things. And it could be food, it could be drinks, it could be drugs, whatever it is. It might mean that you are emotionally unstable, or that you are exercising excess of sensitivity. When it's underactive, again, overactive is like the chakra is like it grows and it's like, whoa, going with all the energy. Underactive means that the energy is like a little bit flowing, but not much, right? So when the chakra, the sacral chakra, is a little bit tight, then you are going to experience lack of passion, low libido, emotional numbness, or creative blocks. Then we're moving to the solar plexus. With the solar plexus, which is the I do, if it's overactive, we're gonna go with dominance, controlling behaviors, arrogance, and hyperactivity, that's in English. If it's underactive, so like very tight, you might be experiencing low self-esteem, lack of confidence, passivity, difficulty making decisions. Moving on to the heart chakra, the I am. Overactive, codependency, overly self-sacrificing, possessiveness, jealousy. Now, if it's underactive, you might be experiencing loneliness, isolation, bitterness, lack of empathy. And this comes from because if it's super open, it's like, oh my God, I need them. I need to be with other people. I'm jealous because they belong to me, and they are my boyfriend. They are my, it's like my. And on the other hand, you're also going to be overly self-sacrificing. It's like, oh, I'm so good that I'm going to give to everyone and I'm going to do this and that just to receive something in exchange. I hope that makes sense. Now, when we jump into the throat chakra, the I say, overactive. We have people that is very talkative. They might be unable to really listen, and they might be very good at gossiping and dominating conversations. If it's underactive, then we have people that is fearful of speaking. They might be very shy, or they might have difficulty expressing thoughts or social anxiety. Then when it comes to the third eye, the I see, if it's overactive, it could be people that is having different hallucinations, delusions, difficulty concentrating, and excessive daydreaming. And underactive, it could be that is meaning a lack of intuition, poor vision or imagination, and difficulty seeing the big picture. And finally, we're jumping into the crown chakra. I know that I'm running a little bit quick with this, but I don't want the video to be super long because we can really drill into each one of them. So with the crown, the I know, if it's overactive, it might mean that you are over-intellectualization. No, that's not how you say it. It might mean that you are using, or that you're over-intellectualizing. Oh my goodness, my English today. Everything. So you're overthinking too much. Let's just put it that way. Easier to say. So it could be that you're disconnected from reality, that you might be having spiritual addictions, and also a superiority complex. And if it's underactive, it could be a lack of spiritual connection, apathy, narrow-mindedness, and skepticism. So if you would like to know a little bit more about how these imbalances relate to different type of limiting beliefs and patterns, and how to balance them out, just make sure that you are checking on my webpage, my other social media. If you're onto Instagram, I share a lot of short videos there as well, obviously here on YouTube. And I'm taking one-on-one sessions, and I also do group workshops. If you are interested in that, make sure that you are signing up to my newsletter. And also, I have just created a private group that is only for women, for spiritual women, that it's around sacred wellness. So the idea is to build a community of like-minded women that they feel that they're in a safe container to ask questions, to share what they're going through, and to support each other so that we can create a better world and heighten up our levels of consciousness together, because that way we all rise. And I hope that you have enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments.